We are back in this glorious debugger of ours. So I'm going to tell you how I discovered how it's making that decision to show the window or not. And the way I think about this, there's this file and it's written it somewhere into memory. I don't really care. What I really care about is when the decision is made about showing the window. And this is the key point to discover where it is happening, where the decision is being made. So I put a breakpoint on the show window right here. And I have many breakpoints, but really only one of them is really used. So, and we're going to start the program. The first breakpoint that hits is entry point. Some internal system stuff we don't care about. And this is the show window breakpoint. This is the first one that's happening. This is most likely the main window. So we're going to let that pass, and actually we can look at the stack and look where this is happening. This is the call to show. If you look where we are inside user 32 module. So we're going to keep going. We may even look at the user code. User code looks like this. It just called this procedure, and somewhere down here it probably called this. I'm just guessing. It's kind of jumping around here. I don't know. I'm going to let it pass again, and there's another call to show window. You may notice our main window has started showing. It has started showing. It hasn't been rendered yet. And we look at the user code again, and look at this. There's a Mischief splash screen here. Some kind of string being referenced, which is already a dead giveaway. We may unroll the function a bit further, but here is where disappointment starts. The disappointment starts is that we don't see a decision point anywhere, and I've been looking through this for a while. You notice these are all the system calls. There is no user code here at all, and this call seems to originate pretty much out of nowhere. This is the whole function. And what this is actually a thread. And the reason why it seems to come out of nowhere, to come out of the earth itself, as it seems, is because we are in a different thread. This is our current thread number 6. And we're not in main thread, this is a new thread. So the decision is not in this thread, and the decision about creating the window has originated from the main thread. So our challenge is to find where in the main thread that decision originated. And this is what was so hard about this. Because I already know how to work with system calls, but to actually connect where this thread came from, that was not easy. But I just continued thinking, well, if there is a thread, then there must be another call somewhere that creates the thread. So I started looking at create thread calls. So I started putting breakpoints on those, and it's a bit messy over there because it creates lots of threads. But eventually, using this method of tracing system calls, I discovered this place. And this place is where the thread originates, right here. Down there, if you follow it, down there somewhere, it actually codes create thread, and there it is. And this is what actually where I triggered my breakpoint. I actually went up and looked at my stack trace, and I rolled back, and I found this place here where it makes this jump. And what really made this jump stand out for me is that it jumps over the place where the thread is starting. So I found, well, if this jump is jumping over the thread creation, then it means, oh, by the way, that means we can skip it. By the way, how did I discover that it's this particular thread that's the cause of my trouble? Basically by running a couple of traces, and I wrote down the order of function calls, like does the thread being created, is the thread being created before the window or the window after the thread, things like that. Just wrote down on a piece of paper and just looked it over. Okay, this is the thread I need. And pretty basic thinking, it doesn't go too deep. So here, this jump is what I want to activate. And I wrote some comments here. So this thread creates sparse screen, yeah. Check binary config file. This location is that byte, and you see there's this 1 in here. And I think 1 means don't show the sparse screen, right? So, and I've been thinking, well, to enable this this jump, I could just turn it into an unconditional jump, but then it created some other problems because it turns out to be not the only place where this check is being performed, and there are a few places in the program that actually look at this memory location. So I decided later to do an unconditional jump, but also modify this memory location. And this is the patch I made here. I'm gonna load it. We're not going to use it, but I still find it educational.